Hello everyone, I'm Shinya Takahashi, and I'll be one of your guides for today's Nintendo Direct.
I'm Yoshiaki Koizumi, and I'll also be joining today.
Hello there, and welcome to episode 54 of the video game podcast PlayStation Pals. I'm your host Nick, and I'm joined by the Delilah to my Henry, John.
That might be the first time I have no idea what that's from.
Yeah, that's I wanted to be
Delilah
confusing.
to my Henry.
It is a game you've played.
Delilah and Henry. I could sit here and think about it, but it's probably going to embarrass me now.
No, I don't think it will. It
Okay.
is Firewatch.
Oh, yeah.
And
Game's okay.
I intentionally went for a vague one this time.
That game's okay.
We'll talk.
Yeah.
We won't get into that, but
We'll save that for our Fire Sprite or Firewatch retrospective.
Yeah, exactly. So we're gonna get right into this show because Nintendo had to go and not cancel E3 or end E3. They had to extend it.
Mm-hmm.
So this is how the show works. John and I both bring 3 things to talk about. It can be a video game we're playing. It can be a topic. It can be a news item. It can be an email to PlayStationPalsPod@gmail.com, a Twitter DM at PSPalsPod, or a comment on our YouTube page at PlayStation Pals. Any of those things, we feel like it, we bring it for a total of 6 things. And so, John, kick it off. What is our very first thing?
Yeah, you thought E3 was over, didn't you?
I did. Whoops.
Yeah, no, think again. Nintendo, always has to be there in some respect. And so I believe just the day before they aired it yesterday, they said that, hey, we're going to be having a Direct. Stay tuned. We'll be highlighting all the games that we're going to have for the second half of the year, as they usually do. One thing I will say about Nintendo is they're very good with their release dates. They know their schedule. They usually hit their schedule, and there's usually a good amount of it. So, obviously, talk about the Nintendo Direct. There were some big announcements, some smaller stuff. In true PlayStation Pals fashion, we don't need to talk about everything.
No.
But, obviously, a couple of big things. So, 10 a.m. yesterday, we got, and I'm just going to start with the big announcements, Nick, and I'm not going to go through this item by item.
Okay. Yeah,
but
we'll just
start with the heavy hitters. But we were shown a brand new 2D Mario game called Super Mario Bros. Wonder, coming on October 20th, aka Spider-Man Day. Mm-hmm. And yeah, it looked pretty good. I mean, it's exactly what you would kind of expect with a 2D Mario game. We got a 2.5-minute trailer. Showed a slightly different art style. Obviously, it's going to be a little bit more vibrant, brighter colors and things like that. But, one thing, it looks like they changed the model of Mario, which it doesn't happen all that much. He looks a lot more expressive and things like that. But trailer was really just to kind of show off the main gimmick of the game, which is this Wonder Flower mechanic, where it's an item like you pick up in any other Mario game, but it looks like it kind of almost activates the world, where things start to come alive. The green drain pipes that everybody knows, they start squirming around like inchworms, and some, I'm sure all sorts of other crazy Nintendo magicness will happen when you do that stuff. But 4-player co-op, like you would kind of expect with these kind of games. But I don't know. Any thoughts on this one, Nick?
It's obviously the sequel to the new Super Mario series. Right. It has co-op. It seems a little bit more movement-based, which made me think a lot of your favorite game, Rayman Legends. That seems to be an inspiration here because every quick cut of this game is very fast. Like, he's not like just sticking around and just doing simple platforming. Mm-hmm. It's like you're riding a bunch of sheep at one point, you're skating, you're swimming through waterfalls. The gameplay itself seemed very fast. Yeah. And a game like obviously on nobody's radar and coming out and has a release date. The complaint that we've had of every one of these showcases is release dates, and Nintendo had release dates for pretty much everything almost. And it's funny, I watched Kinda Funny's reaction to this, and Greg Miller was on there, and we're a lot like Greg Miller. We're the PlayStation fans and everything, and he's like, this showcase is not for me. And I'm going to say that probably about 90% of the games here is that they are not for me. I'm not a Switch owner.
Sure.
I have never had a reason to own a Switch. This game does not change that. So,
Sure.
But it did look fun.
Yeah.
Like I wouldn't mind going to someone's house. I mean, they're like, oh, let's all play this together. I'd be down.
Yeah, it'd be a fun one to bring into work and kind of play for a little bit. But yeah, I mean, I hope they take inspiration from Rayman Legends. That's probably the best example of that style game, in my opinion. So that'd be great. Now, I know you just said, Nick, a lot of these games aren't for you, but I think this one is because it does harken back to little boy Nick probably playing on his grandma's couch, wrapped in plastic. Make sure he doesn't.
In plastic.
Yeah, all grandparents' couches are wrapped in plastic, so you don't pee on it. Make sure it stays nice and pristine. But
I thought I was wrapped in plastic. I didn't know where we were going.
Would you be wrapped in plastic?
I don't know.
All right.
I don't know where you're going with this. What a weird thing to bring up.
I would argue that most people know of the joke of old grandparents having their furniture wrapped in plastic.
Why did they do that?
I don't know.
Why did they do that?
Cleanliness is king. It's next to godliness, didn't you know?
After we left, they unzip it all and it's fine. But then they're like, "Oh, company's coming."
Yeah, here come the grandkids. No, but we're getting. Nintendo decided they wanted to open up their remake catalog, and we're getting a full-on remake of the 1996 Super Nintendo game from Square. Super Mario RPG, which I never got to play, a little too advanced for me at that age. But Nick, I know this was kind of a game that you enjoyed back in the day, so I'll just kind of let you take it away. I don't know really much about it at all.
This is a turn-based RPG made by Square, so you kind of know the pedigree there, in which it took Mario and his friends and, just like any Temple RPG, you kind of build a party, same thing here, but it was a very unique game. It has characters that are just unique to this game, like Mallow and Geno. But this let you fight alongside Peach and fight alongside Bowser. All these people made your party, and there was a new kind of third party that, again, hasn't been seen since this game that you fight in this. And, it is just a fully realized RPG set in the Super Mario universe. Like, you go to towns, you visit townspeople, you ride Yoshi. You visit the Yoshi Island and can have races there.
That's cool.
It's a really, really good game with one of the best video game soundtracks ever. And this came out afterwards that Yoko Shimomura is returning for this game to redo the music. That is probably my favorite thing. Like, I can't wait to hear the soundtrack for this.
Yeah, you'll get your full orchestral version.
Yeah,
of it,
exactly.
Like they do. So yeah, it'll be great.
But yeah, it doesn't seem like it just looks like a better looking, newer models. They're very clean, the models, so that's kind of a little off-putting. But no, this is a great game, and again, a remake of a 1996 game is a very good thing. Like, very few people have had access to this game before. So
yeah, and like I said, I wonder if this is going to start a snowball effect of like, Nintendo, remake this one now. Now remake this one. We remake this one. I mean, obviously, the holy grail of that would be Ocarina of Time, probably. If they start remaking Zelda games, like, watch out. But yeah, I'm excited to check this one out. Question for you about this game, Nick. I imagine the story is probably fine, as that's not probably the main draw. Mm-hmm. Would you say that the mechanics of this game are on par with like Final Fantasies and other turn-based JRPGs, or how would you hold it up to those juggernauts in this genre?
Have you ever played Mario and Luigi?
No.
Okay. So this is
but I will say I think there was a game called Bug Fables that there's like timing mechanics with the attacks, right?
Yes. So
if
an enemy attacks you and you hit a button, you will take less damage, and you'll see your character, imitate like either protecting themselves. And same thing when you're Mario, some of his super attacks will constantly keep jumping on all the enemies. And if you can time your buttons presses there, you'll get an audio cue and you'll get more damage, and that's for all the characters. Okay. So you're not just. It is a relaxing game. Like there's no active time. Like it's Mario's turn.
I love that, dude. I that's why I like Final Fantasy X so much is because it's a complete stopping, and 7 screws me up.
Yeah, so exactly. So when it's your turn, it's Mario's turn, you can sit there and you can decide what you want. So
do you get to see the order in which people are taking their turns? Because that's also another thing I like. Sorry, okay.
I don't know that specific.
I like being able to strategize it out.
But I'm pretty sure, that you get to that the order is pretty much the same. And I believe it's funny. I think when you level up, there are only 3 stats. It's like health, magic, and I think like speed or something.
Not attack.
Or it might be attack. It might be it'd be health, attack, and magic. I think is the 3. So it's a game of the time, right? It wasn't very like advanced, but it was also It was, if you remember Donkey Kong 64, or not Donkey Kong 64, just Donkey Kong Country. It looked a lot like that. It was like, had an extra processing power. It visually stood
96
out.
for the Super Nintendo was very late.
Yeah,
very late.
Yeah. So no, this is very exciting. Like again, is
cool.
One of my we didn't bring it on our favorite games of all time, but I would consider it out there.
I bet if I played it, I probably would have snuck into the end.
Yeah.
If I had any affinity towards it.
Yeah. So
cool. All right, well, those are the big two games, but just some other games that we got to see. Coming on October 6th, we are getting a sequel to Detective Pikachu, which probably means the movie's right behind as well, I would imagine. I got nothing to say about this one.
That's a hard pass, John.
Hard pass. All right. No, this one's not a hard pass, but we got confirmation that the already talked about Metal Gear Solid Volume 1 collection coming to Switch as well on October 24th. So just, if you're looking forward to those or just want to have those games to be able to play portable, which honestly, some of those games probably are pretty great to play portably at this date and age, just because, graphics don't matter and you can just kind of go with them. But
you do have a remake for 3 coming. And
you have a remake for 3 coming.
All of them might get the remake treatment. So
right.
I don't know. If you haven't played them, of course, they're great games. Do
you know if they've set a price for this yet?
No, not that I'm aware of.
I'm
I'm sure it's out there.
Probably best 40. This would be my guess. Maybe 50. I don't know. They're putting 5 games in there, so they can milk it. But
yeah.
All right, and then next up we got November 6th. Zany party game WarioWare Move It, where they just showed a lot of sexually suggestive, hand gestures that you would do, where you like dry your towel off and you do this thing, and not for me. I feel like they're still trying to capture the Wii magic, and it's just really not there with the Switch, even though it has the same functionality. It's like people don't really want to disconnect their Joy-Cons, at least in my experience. But I don't think you can fault a game like WarioWare for anything more than it's just doing what it is.
Yeah.
So. And then we got a short trailer for Pikmin 4, kind of showing off the dog. What's his name? I know you know his name.
Ochi.
So that's still coming in July. And then it also noted that they're getting the HD remasters of Pikmin 1 and 2, which are available now, should you want to play those. Getting a remaster for Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon, which is the second Luigi's Mansion game. A weird one. They teased some sort of nebulous Princess Peach game, said it's coming out next year, but gave us no info about it. Just a really weird way to do that. And then the only other thing I really wanted to mention, Nick, is that they're bringing Vampire Survivors to Switch finally with some couch co-op. Game's fun, but it wears pretty thin quickly. So yeah, I mean, that's about it. There's some other games here or there. If you're into cozy farming games, go check out some other stuff. I didn't bring those here because those don't really interest me at all. No. And some other, I don't know, I would AA to B tier JRPG games, Star Ocean and things like that.
But what about the Batman Arkham trilogy?
The 15-year-old Batman Arkham Asylum? Yeah, they're bringing those 3 to the Switch as well.
So ridiculous.
I guess if you are a weird child that has only ever owned a Switch and you've wanted to play these games and you have no access to anything, sure. But not for me.
Such a funny thing to highlight. And I know Nintendo's been doing this forever because they're always hardware behind the competitors. So they're always like, oh, look what we got. And it's like, just don't highlight that in your direct. Come on.
Yeah, no joke. I mean, Arkham Asylum was 2009, right?
It was that long ago.
So long ago. So, but they're there if you want them. Pretty good little direct. I mean, anytime you get Mario showing up, it's going to be a big deal. I think some people did want to see a 3D Mario or what's up with Metroid Prime.
Or a Switch successor.
Yeah, I think this direct was a pretty good. I think it was kind of good proof that the next big Nintendo thing, we're probably getting it, because every single game that was announced on this is not pushing hardware. It's not pushing it at all. I think next year we're going to see, maybe at the end of this year, if there's like a late fall direct, you'll see the intro of it with a spring-ish release date. That would be my guess for it all. But
well, do you even have to try when you've released arguably game of all time with the Tears of the Kingdom?
No.
They're kind of when Microsoft had their conference, expectations had to meet a certain level. With Nintendo, it's probably the lowest level of expectations you had to meet, because it's like, oh yeah, you just gave us this amazing game that's going to be game of the year, so we'll we'll let you slide. But I'm surprised how high people are on it. But
on the Direct,
yeah,
yeah. I guess if you're into 2D Mario, yeah. I mean, I could stay here for an hour and just talk about the history of Nintendo and how they've done things differently, but also in genius ways throughout their 40-year history in video games. Obviously, they're a much older company than that, but yeah. So there's Nintendo stuff. But more pressing, more relevant to this show, we got some review scores to talk about, Nick.
All right. Yeah, there's some big game out.
Yes.
What game is that?
Big summer releases here, folks. 7 years after we received the last numbered entry into the Final Fantasy trilogy, we finally get to get our hands on Final Fantasy 16. After we got treated with a short demo that leads into the main game, save transfers over, all that good stuff. But we got to our review scores. We kind of know what everybody out there is thinking.
Yep.
And I don't think it'll be a surprise. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Anybody who played the demo, I think you kind of could see that the quality of this game was there front to back, top to bottom, all that good stuff. Currently, it's sitting at an 89 on OpenCritic with a 94% of critics recommending, which ranks it in the 99th percentile of video games, so pretty good.
Yeah.
IGN gave it a 9. 5 reviews out of 91 were under a 9, so I'm sorry, we're under an nope, I misspoke. 5 reviews were under a 9. That can't be right. I think I mistyped. I'm gonna live check that once Nick starts talking about things. But 20 perfect review scores, 20 10 out of 10s, 5 out of 5s, whatever you want to call it. And it did have a couple dips. I mean, Metro Game Central gave it a 6 out of 10. Eurogamer gave it a 3 out of 5. But just to read a couple of blurbs from some of these outlets, Final Fantasy 16 is an outstanding achievement. Every part of it, from its characters to its combat, was put there with a purpose. Not only does it deliver satisfyingly slick action RPG combat in between masterfully directed cutscenes, but also a story with real heart. Most importantly, it's incredibly clear that the team of creative individuals was behind every decision. There's a human element that permeates every aspect of Final Fantasy 16, and it'll end up becoming a lot of people's favorite Final Fantasy because of that. And I wanted to highlight that one because I really like what they had to say about it's incredibly clear that the team of creatives kind of got to do what they wanted to do. Yeah. And I'm very curious to get my hands on the game to see if I can feel that as well, because I think that should be the way that all studios handle this kind of stuff.
Yeah, and I think I mentioned to you that Jason Schreier has an article out there now about how Square Enix lets them do whatever they want from Final Fantasy to Final Fantasy. And obviously there's a long gap between each one, so, the industry changes, so it's good that not only is the series progressing, but also it's not like, Final Fantasy 15 was so successful, 16 has to be this, or
right.
Or we want you to go to what Remake 7 is doing. Like, we want, it's what you guys feel is the best fit for this series and where you want to take it. And yeah, very few series get to tell a new story, new world, new everything, new lore every time. Apart from the few times, like Final Fantasy X got a sequel, Final Fantasy 13 got a sequel, but that's pretty incredible. And yeah, it's good to see that the reviews are reflecting that it's something, better than 15, something new, something memorable, and people are hating on it, but that's to be expected. JRPGs are definitely not for everybody, Yeah. Like the Metro Gamer one, that's like it's long-winded and that just comes with the territory,
It does, but also I would urge anybody who doesn't consider themselves big into JRPGs to still not look at this game through a JRPG lens. At least that's kind of what it seems like. It's like the action in this game is probably the shining star of it all, and it's very well done. Again, by the guy who did Devil May Cry, Ryoto Suzuki. We got his name.
Thank you.
But yeah, I think it is very interesting. This franchise, one of the most storied franchises in games, but when you do go back and think about it as a whole, it's like 1 through 10 were all turn-based standard JRPGs, and then they went in an MMO route, and then they kind of went back, and then they just did this full-in blown-up action thing, and that turns off a small section of people, but it's great that Square allows their developers to lead the charge in that, and that they don't have to put a square peg into a round hole, trying to force them to do something because they think that it's just going to get a little bit more sales. So I think you see that kind of stuff get reflected in here, and it's great to see. But But yeah, I mean, any other quick thoughts, Nick? I mean, I know you have it pre-ordered. You're probably picking it up after this.
It is probably, if I check my phone,
right.
it's delivered at my house right now. So.
That's right. So, yeah, I mean, so we'll be jumping feet first into it. You know, I kind of said since I've been seeing a lot of this, I think this is going to be one of the definitive Final Fantasies when people think of the greatest ones. And it seems like it's definitely going to take the crown of the modern Final Fantasies. It remains to be said when it comes to like all of it, because that's such a wide range of anything that.
Right.
Well, I like turn-based stuff. Well, so I like 6. Okay. Well, I like fast stuff, so I like 16. It's like, well, you can't really do that. So.
Well, like we were saying, like every game is different. It's like and it seems like everyone you meet is like, I beat this one, and this one, and I bounced off of this one, and I even feel like trying these other ones. And same here. It's like it's been a minute since I've completed a Final Fantasy. The last one was 13.
Look, except for a remake, right?
Oh yeah, remake. Yeah, remake.
That's
but
kind of its own thing.
But the mainline games is like, oh yeah, I completed 6, 7, 12, 13. now probably this one too. But yeah, I think that's also, again, speaks to like the creative choices that they mix it up. That everyone seems to have their favorites and bounces off of, the ones they don't like. But.
Did you see that report that the staff at Square Enix is asking when they're going to be able to remake 6? So that's what they want. And if it seems, I'm just saying,
it's a big job.
That is a big job with I don't know how you remake a game, a sprite-based game like that into what they could do with it now. I don't know how you do that, but
I mean, you can, but like, how much time does Square Enix have? Like, it takes 3 games and possibly 10 years to remake 7. So, and every RPG is that big. So you're looking at least two games. You're not gonna remake 6 in one game.
No, I agree. I bet they're probably just looking at the staff that they have right now and what they've done with the franchise. Yoshi P and people like that, and be like, we gotta pump out as much Final Fantasy as we can now because we have such a solid core group that it likes working on this stuff. So yeah, maybe they're just throwing everything at a wall and just seeing what sticks or what people are passionate about. But I would expect, as we've talked about on the show, many Final Fantasy games to come, many spin-offs to kind of keep coming.
And it is possible, like when all these like senior developers leave, like Yoshi P and Tetsuya Nomura and like these guys that have been at Square forever, that the new and up and comers will be assigned these projects because they're a lot smaller and easier. Like, okay, you're remaking Final Fantasy 6. And you know what engine you're going to make it in. All the art's already there. All the character models are there. You just have to, it's an easier project to tackle than being like, okay, you're taking over for Yoshi P. Give me Final Fantasy 17, please.
Yeah, figure it out.
yeah, figure it out. So, there could be a rise in that for sure. That, if that one rumor we were talking about last week about Final Fantasy 10 and Final Fantasy 9, and they want to remake all
9
of them.
I 100% believe.
But
10 I don't.
But yeah, that we could see a rise of that, especially like I said, when these senior guys leave, it's an easier project to bring up the new people.
Yeah,
so
I think that makes sense.
All right. So yeah, expect thoughts on that game next week. We'll kind of figure out how we want to cover it. Obviously, we don't want to spoil people, but it's the big release. We want to talk about it, probably at least bring it a few weeks, and then
we'll have initial impressions, but I bet we do a bonus episode on this one. So.
Yeah. So.
Unless we hate it. Who knows?
Yeah, I'm selling my copy back.
Yeah.
It's horrible. But, all right. So let's move on into the third thing, and that is a rumor that has popped up. And as discussed about the Nintendo Direct, the Metal Gear Solid Collection Volume 1 is a thing, and that collects Metal Gear Solid 1 through 3, and then the NES versions, Metal Gear 1 and 2. But someone, Twitter user Nitroid, noticed that on their website, they have placeholders for Metal Gear Solid 4, 5, and Peace Walker. So Metal Gear Solid 4 came to PS3 all the way back in 2008. Metal Gear Solid 5 came to PS3, PS4 in 2015. And then Metal Gear Solid Peacemaker came... Peace Walker. I keep getting that confused. Peace Walker is a dumb name. I'm sorry. But
Peacemaker is just on your brain because of DC.
Yeah. That came to PSP in 2010. So IGN took this rumor, and then they confirmed with their own sources that this does, in fact, exist, that this is the plan. So, John, first off, Do you plan on getting Collection 1 at all?
No, probably not Collection 1.
But, okay, so what about Collection 2 for Volume 2?
Probably.
Yeah?
Yeah, I mean, I've wanted to replay 4. I think everybody in the world who's played 4 wants to replay it. It's just, the poster child for Stranded games. This is the exact right package that I think they needed to have, those 3 games into it. But I've never gotten past the intro of 5. I've never touched Peace Walker. And maybe it's a way to kind of get a little more into this franchise. I mean, we brought Metal Gear Solid 1 was number 5 on our top 50 list, right? So very, very, very iconic game. But I would be lying if I said that I've ever really been into this franchise. I respect it.
Big idiot.
Yeah, I know. But Kojima continues every day. He just annoys me more and more and more. So I feel like I'm less likely to play it, but also I do respect history and I respect this industry, so I should. But yeah, I would love to go back and check out 4. And just, I don't know, man. Like I said, I think I told you the other day, I was at a used video game store and they had Halo Master Chief Collection, which was 1, 2, 3, I think that's it, and Reach maybe. And it was for $4. And I was like, I'm probably never going to play this, but I can own all 4 of these. And that's just how I am. So, if I don't I'm not going to probably get this when it releases, but definitely at some point I probably would like to have them just to be like, yeah, I own all the Metal Gears. That's the collector in me, the guy that still collects Criterion movies and things like physical media. So I'd get it more for that than to just play them.
Sure. This is interesting because Metal Gear Solid 1 through 3 and Metal Gear 1 and 2 are very playable right now. Yeah. Like they're playable everywhere. And MGS5 is also very playable at this point because it is, it's on PS4. So we have us as PS5 users, I can play Metal Gear Solid 5 whenever I want. Yep. The Phantom Pain. But MGS4 is landlocked to the PS3. That game, never has come out on any other consoles. I hear it was again, a lot of games developed for the PS3 because it had the
Cell.
Yep, the Cell.
The Cell processor
chipset.
Architecture thing, and what I guess that cause was every game was developed a little bit differently.
Yeah, exactly. It was
just wild.
It was a pain in the ass. I wish Konami would put in the work to bring it to other platforms, but they didn't. And I think this should all be just one giant collection, which it should be.
I guarantee it'll be expensive, but when the second one drops, I guarantee there'll be a package for $100 for all.
Yeah, but both games both packages separately combined, not. Yeah. It should all be just one package, but yeah. So the Metal Gear Solid 4 is the big one. You're right. That is the game. Like if that will interest most people, without a doubt, because like I said, that's the one you just cannot play anywhere else. So if this is in fact true, it'll probably do much better than Volume 1 because everyone wants to go play Metal Gear Solid 4.
It's interesting, though, because 1, 2, and 3 are those are the big ones still.
Yeah. But like I said, you can play those anywhere. You can play those on PC and other places, but again, MGS4 are nowhere to be found. And this is an incredible game, too. Perfect 10 from IGN. The Octo Camo suit was such a neat thing.
Yeah.
And
it's the most visceral memory I have of playing through anything Metal Gear Solid related is from 4 when he's crawling through the microwave. Whatever that
Spoilers.
Is. Spoilers. When did that game come out?
Yeah, 2008.
Yeah, I don't care.
But it's I'd be curious to go back to see if I still, because that was such a culmination of Metal Gear, and I was such a big Metal Gear fan at the time that I'm not gonna lie, that game brought me to tears. I was so
the ending or just at different points throughout.
Different points throughout, because it was just like bringing back a lot of characters, and then the ending, Snake getting old because his body's degenerating, and now I can relate to that more just because I'm older, and my body feels like shit more often. So
that's the truth.
Yeah, I wonder how I would feel going back to it, or I would see it for what a lot of people outside see it for, long-winded, confusing. Kojima has to over-explain everything. Like when I see all the faults, very cutscene heavy. Yeah. So it would be interesting just to go back to the kind of, would my nostalgia hold up for that game?
I think it would, because you're involved. I think it's just, are you into this universe or not? So are you willing to sit through a 45-minute cutscene? Because that's what it I think the longest cutscene in that game is between 45 minutes and an hour, which is nuts. But I also remember, as somebody who never played 1, never played 3, I had only beaten 2. I got through this whole game and I liked it a lot. So, But I don't really remember why. I remember really liking the mechanics of the weapons and going to the shopkeeper with his monkey and doing all the modifications to the guns. And I remember really liking that, but I don't have any memories of really what the narrative fucking was and really much of just the moment to moment of it. So I probably, pending any high price points, I'll probably get the second one just for that. Just for 4.
Yeah, and you haven't played 5 either. And I would highly recommend going through 5. 5 is very, very, very good.
Yeah, time. So,
yeah.
Yes. yes.
Yeah. So, speaking of time, we can just go right into the next topic.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of games that are vying for our time, isn't there?
Yeah. So buckle up. So, Nick, I'm gonna name this. I'm naming this segment. Okay. And so what I want to do is, every once in a while, I don't know if we want to start doing it quarterly or bi-yearly. Go through the big release dates for the second half of the year, fourth quarter of the year, whatever we decide. But at least for right now, we're going to be talking about fall, winter 2023.
Do you remember back last year when we did the show, we would do it monthly?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we can't do that. That's silly. But I'm titling this show.
Topics are drying up. You might be reaching for the monthly.
So we're just going to do monthly of after already doing this. Be like, all right, we're talking about September, guys. So I'm titling this, Gimme Dat, or You Sure About That? So what I want to do is up to 2 each. We're going to pick 2 of the games that we think are going to be either awesome or people aren't paying attention to them enough or just something you want to highlight. Try and up to 2 and vice versa, right? So if there's a game that's I don't know about this one, stay clear.
Okay.
That's going to be a You Sure About That? And if it's good, it's a Gimme That, which is I think you should leave reference. So we're going to start in July. And starting off on July 14th.
Oh, we're going to go through each one.
Oh, we're going through each one. Oh, and to keep this as short as possible and not get too long-winded, feel free to do it's a hard pass, right? It's a hard pass thing.
Okay. All right.
So Exoprimal coming July 14th from Capcom Games, coming to all current gen consoles. Anything about it? No.
We know how I feel. You sure about that?
You sure about? No. You can only pick 2 of those. Is that are you sure about?
Oh,
that?
I'm saying it. So if
not for everyone.
Okay, so if I say you're sure about, that's my worst pick.
Correct. So I currently have 1 You Sure About That and 2 Gimme Dads.
Okay. Yep.
All right.
All right.
Putting you on the spot, I know you're going to have to do this on the fly, but we'll get there.
Okay.
All right. Coming July 21st for Nintendo Switch, we're getting Pikmin 4. Coming on July 25th, coming to PlayStation 5, Windows PC, and Xbox Series X, we're getting Remnant 2, which just real quick, it's not one of my picks, but I'm still low-key excited about that one. I think it could be fun.
You will see.
We'll see. Pessimistic Nick.
No, the internet is hyped about it. It's fun.
Yeah,
it's just not my thing.
And we're getting a Telltale series game coming on July 27th, The Expanse, which this is not the original Telltale team. If listeners know or will remember, that team basically got disbanded and it kind of reformed itself. So this is, I believe, the first game since then.
Yeah.
Don't quote me on that, but I think it is.
No, it is, yeah.
Okay, so that'll be interesting to see just on a industry level.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of a little sneaky one here. July 28th, Disney Illusion Island coming to the Nintendo Switch. Anything to say about that one, or keep going?
I think it is one to watch. It is speaking of Rayman Legends, a 2D version of that with Disney characters. Look it up. It looks pretty good. And it was at the Summer Game Fest Days of Play, and so there are impressions out there, and they seem to be very positive on it. So we'll see.
All right, and moving into August. So I don't remember much about this one. I remember it being at a showcase over the past year, but Atlas Fallen.
This is going to be a You Sure About That?
This is a You Sure About That?
Yep.
All right.
So this is the sand surfing one, if that rings a bell.
I remember sand being a thing.
So yeah, this is it looks like a Monster Hunter. Like, that's what I would say, but the unique mechanics are like mobility, which is always a good thing. Don't get me wrong, but There's just something about it. Who's the developer on that?
This is Deck 13.
Yep.
I'm looking now.
Okay. Well, I haven't heard of them before, so
I've heard of them. They did the Surge games, the Surge and the Surge 2.
Okay, fine.
And
I'm fine with that.
those are above average Souls knockoffs, but still in the 70s, I guess. So
Yeah.
okay.
Yep.
Oh, they did the Lords of the Fallen game too. Well, look at that. Yeah. So
The one
I
that's
really
coming up that we're gonna also talk about.
Well,
Or they did. They probably did. Maybe they didn't. They probably did the first one.
God, I
'Cause
hate
it's
Lords
so
of the Fallen. It's so stupid. No, they did this one too. Oh wait, no, this is the original. Sorry, it's impossible to look for because it's Lords of the Fallen or the Lords of the Fallen, which is just.
Oh my god.
Nope. So not the upcoming one. It's the
Okay.
old one.
All right. I'm sticking to my.
Yeah, that's fair.
Sticking to my point.
All right. August 18th, Jet Set Radio knockoff. We're getting Bomb Rush Cyberfunk coming to Nintendo Switch and Windows PC, which is weird that it's not coming to PS5 or Xbox. Perennial football game at Madden NFL 24, August 18th. Same day, we are getting a asymmetrical horror game. You know, that's almost its own genre at this point. We're getting the Texas Chainsaw Massacre coming on August 18th. August 22nd, from EA Games, Immortals of Avium coming to PlayStation 5, Xbox
You mean
Series X.
EA Entertainment?
Oh, yes, they separated. They separated themselves. EA Entertainment. Immortals of Avium, that's that first-person magic battle mage game. That's you sure about that from me?
Yeah.
You sure about that?
Yeah.
It could be cool. It just something looks off. It looks slow. It looks like there's too much going on.
Yeah, we talked about this in our Summer Game Fest discussion that and it showed up at the PlayStation Showcase. Yeah, there's something not right about this game.
There's something off. I don't know.
And the delay, that's a little more.
Yeah,
because it was supposed to be out a month earlier.
my main podcast, Sacred Symbols, Colin's all about this. He says like, day one. He's like, I'm in there day one. I'm like,
That's fine.
It's like, but he knows so much about video games. What do you see that I don't? I just don't get it. All right, next on the list, give me that, Nick. Armored Core 6, Fires of Rubicon. Coming August 26th to PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, Windows PC, Xbox One, Xbox Series X.
Put your money where your mouth is. You going to pre-order it?
No, because I have morals. No, I don't know. I don't need to pre-order to prove anything. You know, like when it comes out, when it gets the previews, when it's like, hey, if you like Soulsborne games, because for those who don't know this is developed by From Software, makers of Elden Ring.
Well, I heard that do not factor that in because this is not that.
No, right, but like I still think it's a quality. Like the team is unrivaled with just vision and enemy design and systems and things like that. So I fully expect to have a lot of their flair and flavor into it, but a totally different kind of game. That's kind of what I'm expecting.
I would love. You remember how we got that state of play about Final Fantasy or just the Starfield Direct?
Yeah.
God, if this game could get one of those to just
great.
go right into all the systems, I would love that because it's high on my radar. Believe me, like I want to buy this game day one.
Yeah.
But I am unsure if it is because we said Armored Core 5 was poorly received, and obviously that was a long time ago.
Yeah.
We're dealing with a different From Software.
Yes.
But who on From Software is making this? From Software is probably very large now since they're very successful. Who knows with this one? So
Yeah. I mean, it's a little. There's some questions. It is interesting though. I think From Software might be the developer with the most amount of faith for me. Probably them.
They've earned it.
It's them or Supergiant. I think is probably just in terms of teams that just click with me and they don't miss.
They've earned with it, but this is also a very, very different game.
For
so
sure.
We'll see. But
For sure. All right, next up, I got it back-to-back gimme that's. Give me that, Nick.
So you're using both your gimme dats?
I'm using both my gimme that's.
Oh, using
Sea of Stars coming August 29th to Nintendo Switch, PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, Windows PC. I didn't realize that game wasn't coming to Xbox. That sucks. Beautiful, beautiful looking game made by Sabotage Studios, the developers of The Messenger. We've talked about it on the show. Absolutely gorgeous. Probably the most gorgeous looking pixel art I've ever seen. They came out with a demo for it a while back on the Switch. It plays well, very Chrono Trigger reminiscent, but it's a turn-based RPG in that pixel form. But I think this game has a very, very high ceiling. The Messenger was incredibly well received with being a 8-bit/16-bit. side-scrolling game that had a somehow pretty decent writing, lots of jokes, a decent story, and that was their first outing. So I think that Sabotage, assuming they have that same level of quality about it, it just looks like they're just taking everything that they know and learned and just fucking going all out, balls to the walls with this one. And so very excited to get my hands on that.
Was it your most anticipated game of the year? One of your 5?
Was it? I think it was, yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
I think it was. All right, coming up next, Baldur's Gate 3, August 31st. We're getting the full official release for PlayStation 5 and Windows PC. CRPG, probably going to be great. Just really, 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 really intense.
Yeah, this game is kicking off. We'll get into them all, but like, what a next 30 days of RPGs is pretty wild.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and probably the biggest of all, though, is September 6th. Starfield finally comes to consoles and Windows. Well, sorry, to Xbox Series X and Windows PC. September 6th. Don't need to go much more into this.
Yeah.
It's probably going to be great.
A lot last week.
Yep. Sequel to the Nintendo Switch launch title Super Bomberman R. We're getting the second one of those coming on September 12th. Nintendo Switch, PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, Windows PC, Xbox One, Xbox Series X. Bloodborne Impersonator, Lies of P coming on September 19th. PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, Windows PC, Xbox One, Xbox Series X. What's wrong?
When are you playing this demo?
I played a little bit of it. It just immediately turned me off of it, and I didn't want to.
You didn't say anything.
Oh, I didn't? No, I just didn't like the way the combat felt.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It feels very similar to Blood. It's just so again, referencing Sacred Symbols, there's a co-host on there. His name's Dustin. He is just as much into FromSoft as I am, like probably more so.
Okay.
And he has the exact same problem. It's just like every time he tries a Souls knockoff, even though he knows it's high quality, even though he knows there's lots of good things about it, if it doesn't feel the exact way of things that we've like come to learn and love with FromSoft, it just doesn't, like, hey, this role doesn't feel right. I don't want to play it. I'm just gonna go play Elden Ring.
You guys are such snobs.
Yeah, man, it's just Elden Ring. Like, I would rather go play through Elden Ring again than play through something that it doesn't feel quite right. So we'll see.
Look, I'm gonna post a hypothetical to you here.
Yeah.
If this game reviews well, very well, let's say 85 and above,
Yes.
Does that change anything?
Yeah, I'll probably play it.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I'll probably play it. I mean, Neo is probably the greatest example of that. Those games were very well received. People like those a lot.
Right.
But, like, I didn't like that there was 3 different stances, and I didn't like having to modify that kind of stuff. I just like the core experience so much of what FromSoft does that, like, any little variance of that starts to throw me off. Now, yeah, if this game comes out, it reviews well, people start talking about, like, oh, there's a cool world here, cool enemy design.
Right.
If there's reasons to go through it that is more than just like hey, this is Bloodborne-esque, then yeah.
Okay.
But I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
I feel like I'm the only one that feels this way because a lot of people like the Pinocchio thing too. I don't really like the Pinocchio thing. Like, I don't
It
know.
really doesn't do anything for me either.
Yeah,
Like,
don't really like it. But same day, huge release of the year. We're getting Mortal Kombat 1 coming to next-gen consoles as well as Nintendo Switch. Year of the fighting games, man. I mean, I don't know what else to say. Street Fighter 6 blew everybody's pants off. Tekken 8 still supposed to come out this year. Looks pretty good. So I think Mortal Kombat 1, from the people who have seen it, say it looks, more of what they expect. But I don't know. I still feel like this is I have a feeling that this is going to come in third place of the major fighting games at the end of the year. I don't know.
Well, we don't know when Tekken 8's coming, but also we have not seen, again, Homelander or Omni-Man,
It's true.
and that could be a big deal. So
Could, yeah.
We'll see.
It's interesting because there's been a lot of fighting game news and things this year. It's like I'm kind of realizing how people play fighting games a little bit more. Specifically, my one friend that I've talked to you about, and like he only plays Ryu. That's all he does.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, the idea is like, oh, like, well, maybe Homelander's my guy. I'm just Homelander all the time. Like, I could see that being like fun and getting a reason to get into the game beyond just like it's Mortal Kombat. So I kind of get it a little bit more now.
Yeah, and I think that's
like
my
DLC characters.
My recommendation for anyone is to try out everyone first. But yeah, when you lock into somebody, because it's just there's too much when you're trying to learn multiple characters and how to do combos with multiple characters. It'll just probably normal fighting game people can do it, but I certainly can't. So You know?
No, the only game I've ever been able to even come close to that is the original Super Smash Brothers. Like, after probably about 300 hours as Captain Falcon, I'm like, all right, I feel like I know him so well, I can go to Pikachu. I learned Pikachu, and then I learned Ness, and I'm like, that's it. That's all I got space for.
Right.
All right, Nick, I know you're kind of sad you won't get to play this one. September 20th, coming to Xbox One, Xbox Series X, and Windows PC, Party Animals.
It'll come to PlayStation.
Yeah, if it's successful.
Yeah, hopefully. I think it will.
Yeah.
I think regardless. And hopefully it'll be like a day-and-date game for PlayStation Plus Extra, because that would be great. I think
It's the perfect kind of game for that.
Because this is a Game Pass Day 1 game, so.
Yeah, and it's a game that's going to thrive or die based on
player base.
Yeah, player base, and so but it's very party focused. Why can't I think of it? Fall Guys.
Yeah.
Reminds me of Fall Guys or Gang Beasts or Human Fall Flat, things like that.
Yeah, looks great.
All right, Nick, keep it in your pants. September 26th, getting that Cyberpunk DLC, Phantom Liberty. You give me that, or you?
This is a huge gimme that.
Gimme
yeah,
that.
this is.
Anything else to say?
Yeah, no, not really. It's just I can't wait. I'm counting down the days. I will submit. I will have time off. I will be doing whatever it takes. I want to be playing this day 1.
Yeah, I'm trying to think now because, not only your advice, but everybody's advice now is to wait to play the base game until this comes out. I'm like, it's definitely not enough time for me, 25 days from then to Spider-Man, but maybe it is. Maybe that's the day that I just jump into the whole thing, but not Phantom Liberty at that point.
Not to get too aside, but the way you're going to consume Spider-Man 2 is going to be very tough on you, that you might want this palate cleanser.
Right.
Like, it's
exactly.
like I'm playing all day with my son, Spider-Man 2. At night, I'm going to Night City and letting off some steam.
It's true. see some robot boobies.
Yeah, there you go. So
Yeah, it is gonna. Spider-Man 2 is gonna be a whole thing for me. I'm gonna see it beaten before I get my hands on it. I'm gonna be looking at like, Levi, can I play this part? And be like, no, Dad. I'm like, fine.
it'll be a whole segment. I mean, because your son will be like, I want help with this, and you're gonna be like, I haven't played this yet. I don't even know how to play Venom or the Venom abilities, the symbiote abilities, and you're gonna be like, you're on your own, man.
Yeah, I mean, I think that his reading has been nuts the past like 2 months for whatever reason. Like all of a sudden he can sound out everything, which is really cool. But yeah, maybe I will just be like, dude, you've played over 500 hours. I swear I'm a good dad. Over 500 hours of the original Peter Parker and Miles. You can handle everything combat-wise. I guarantee it. If you need help with a puzzle, I'm there. Otherwise, nah.
Yeah.
I might just have to shut him down.
Yeah.
Where were we? Got sidetracked. Okay. Into October.
Yeah.
So as discussed, Detective Pikachu 2, October 6th. October 10th, Forza Motorsport coming to Xbox Series X and Windows PC. This is the more realistic racing version of the Forza series over on Xbox. So I know those people are all about it. One of the first big October games. Here we go. Assassin's Creed Mirage coming to PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, Windows PC, Xbox One, Xbox Series X. I don't have anything to say, but it's a big one.
Yeah, it'll and it's only $50. It'll be.
Oh, really?
It looks good.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if you're into the old style, there you go.
It was supposed to be yet again another expansion to Assassin's Creed Valhalla, and they spun it off into its own game.
It just doesn't make sense.
It's probably got the 15 to 20 hour length, which is probably actually a breath of fresh air for that franchise. Which Valhalla took me about 70 to 80 hours to beat. So
just the core.
Yeah, exactly. Without the expansions and all that. So
yeah. Annoyingly named The Lords of the Fallen coming on October 13th to PlayStation 5, Windows PC, Xbox Series X. It looks really pretty. Like
I was gonna say, this looks like
this
a 1-to-1.
looks like the best representation of what makes FromSoft, like what elevates them. So I'm curious about this one. First one wasn't well received, as we just discussed. Different studio making it, so maybe they can do it. But some of the bosses that they've shown look pretty fucking gnarly and cool, and it fits the vibe. So I got my eye on this one.
Okay.
I'm more optimistic about this one than Lies of P. But we'll see. Yeah. Potential spoiler cast game coming up here. Nick and I are currently watching the first version of this to try and make sure we got the story down so that we can go in fresh. Alan Wake 2 coming on October 17th. Next-gen consoles as well as PC.
I have this sneaking suspicion because delays are going to happen. Like this schedule is,
This is the one
as
you
it is
think?
right now. And when you look at October and all the games coming out around this game, this might be the one to get pushed.
I didn't even think about it until this moment, but I would agree, man. 3 days until Spider-Man and Super Mario come out. It's like, I mean, it's perfect in one sense because October is horror month. Like,
Right.
so maybe they stick with it to hit that as well as hope that, like, well, the Venn diagram of people who are, hopefully
Right.
it's not too.
I mean, I want to play
overlapping.
both, but
So do I, but I could see them being like, let's just get out of October.
Right.
Which
Have you ever bought 2 games that came out on the same day? I know it doesn't happen very often or within the same week.
I'm sure I have,
Okay.
but I can't. I want to say I bought Dark Souls and Skyrim on the same day.
Okay. Yeah, that could be true.
Because
Because I did buy Left 4 Dead 2 and Modern Warfare 3 or Modern Warfare 2 on the same day. And
I mean, yeah, and of course there's like Christmas mornings and things like that.
Yeah.
Like, what do I play? Ah.
yeah.
But no, I'm too much of a cheap ass to spend $140.
I think it was like,
on
in the
Go.
launch of the PS5, I had Miles Morales and Assassin's Creed Valhalla.
That for sure.
And Astro Bot at the same time. But yeah, typically that does not happen. But
What did
wondered if
I
I'd
buy?
do
I
it.
bought a whole bunch of shit.
Yeah,
I
you
bought
did.
Call of Duty. Stupid. I have no self-control. All right. Again, as mentioned earlier, Vampire Survivors hitting the Nintendo Switch on October 17th. Super fun, super easy. Doesn't last long. Sequel to the weirdly popular / weirdly good Hot Wheels Unleashed. Coming on October 19th, Hot Wheels Unleashed 2 Turbocharged. Coming to basically every console, so I'm not going to list them.
Yep.
Biggest game of the fall for us, for sure. Marvel Spider-Man 2, October 20th.
Yeah, that's a gimme dat.
Give me that.
Yep. I will be
that.
consuming it on my own. So I will get to enjoy
You're going to get
it.
so annoyed with me. You're going to be so annoyed with me when that game comes out.
I'm going to be like, invite your son to work. We got to talk about the game.
Yeah. You guys ready to hear from a 6-year-old on a podcast? It would actually probably be hilarious. It wouldn't, though, because he'd just be like, yeah. No. Yeah. And same day, as discussed, Super Mario Bros. Wonder. That'll be a good day for video game people.
Yep.
This one I'm curious to see how it's received because I thought that the preview / trailer they showed of this at the I don't know if it was Games Fest or Xbox. I think it was Game Fest. Looked pretty fucking good. And that's Cities Skylines 2 coming to PlayStation 5, Windows PC, and Xbox Series X on October 24th. And let me just make sure I won't play this game, but I'm just curious how it looks and how it's received because it looks pretty fucking good.
There's no Sim City. It owns a genre that's pretty vacant outside of like Park Beyond, which just came out, and Jurassic Evolution 2. These more specific like little instances of building your own theme park or Jurassic World or whatever. But there's no city builders out there, and it's certainly not on console. I mean, you have more options on PC, but yeah, this is just gonna run away with it.
It's always really funny when you hear people who are into games like these talk about them because they go, "Did you see? I can manage the traffic flow." It's like, what? Why
Hey,
would
there's
you wanna
something
do
inherently
that?
satisfying of watching a city you build come to life.
I totally understand that. It's just really funny when they start talking about like the features and things. Like,
But who's this theoretical person you're talking about?
I don't know. I think it was like a Reddit. It was like a Reddit comment.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Oh, you can do this. All right, and then we're getting that Metal Gear Solid Master Collection Volume 1. I think I screwed up some words in order there, but I don't care. October 24th, Nintendo Switch, PlayStation 5, Windows PC, Xbox Series X. All right, almost done, Nick.
Yep.
You're doing great. November, Star Ocean, the second story R, coming to Nintendo Switch on November 2nd. That's one of the games that was shown in the Direct
And
that I
this
didn't
is coming
feel
to
like mentioning.
PlayStation 2
Okay, well, yeah.
because they put the trailer on their YouTube. So
Okay.
I think it's the same date, but don't quote me on that.
If you're a JRPG nerd, like we are, then you can do it. November 3rd, WarioWare Move It coming to Switch. We talked about that one. Here's one that I think is going to be kind of a sleeper success of the fall. Like a Dragon Gaiden, the man who erased his name. Coming to PlayStation 4, 5, Windows PC, Xbox One, Xbox Series X on November 9th.
Did you also know this is a digital only release?
No.
It is.
Stupid. And the reason that I hate that is because that maybe tells me it's a smaller game than I thought, and like it's not going to get reviewed well. It's on my fantasy list. But it's a return.
I don't think that takes a factor into this. I just think
that's just the direction we're moving in. It sucks.
Yeah, yep. And these smaller publishers, I mean, Sega's not a smaller publisher, but these smaller entries, I'm sure, like a Dragon, Infinite Wealth will get a full release, but not this one. Sorry.
It's a slippery slope.
Because it's a spinoff.
It's so sad. All right.
Because like a Dragon Ishin, I don't think got a physical release either.
That's a good point.
There you go.
Yeah, that's a good point. Maybe this is more not a big deal as I thought. That's fair. Because like Burning Shores didn't get it's not 1-for-1. That's a DLC versus like a spinoff. But yeah, okay.
I would not say that reflects on the quality at all.
Yeah.
I think this will probably be
It'll be good. It's a return of Kiryu Kazuma. People love him, and a return to the beat 'em up formula. So
yeah.
I don't know why I have Hogwarts Legacy for Switch here. Who cares? November 14th, if you do care. Persona 5 Tactica coming November 17th to basically everything. You giving this one a shot, Nick? You love those characters.
I don't know, and they're really stretching the Persona 5. We're probably very, very far from Persona 6 now that we have...
Reload? Persona 3?
No. Dave Re-Fantasio.
Metaphor.
Metaphor, yes. Yeah. Metaphor. I was looking for the first part. Now that we have that, I bet you Persona 6 is long off, and all the spin-offs, we got the dancing game, we got Persona 5 Strikers, and now we got Persona 5 Tactica. I'm sure it's great, and I really do, but I don't know. I gotta see how this one reviews. I don't know. I don't know if I'm ready to go back.
Yeah. I mean, I will say, like, we, I think we knew about Project RE Fantasy from that team, like, back in 2017.
We did.
So, like, maybe they're just very good at balancing two teams at one time, and Persona 6 is...
Well, this is a different studio, so there is still the existing studio that works on Persona.
Then, yeah, I don't think it'll cross
over.
But
the director... The three big people, the composer, the art, the guy that does all the art, and
Studio
Shino is left.
Is it Studio Zero? Yeah,
that's what Studio Zero is Metaphor Re-Fantasio.
Yeah.
But, so I don't know. It's because there's also that Metal Slugs Tactics game, and it has been a while since I've gotten into a tactics game, so it's nice to see that like some big releases for these. But I'll probably just see how it reviews. I don't know. Yeah. But all the Persona games, 5 spin-offs have all been hits, so could be.
I'm interested. I mean, ever since my Into the Breach obsession, it's like I always perk up a little bit more with these than I used to. And I've tried to get into Mario and Rabbids. Like that's kind of been my other one that I like. And I played it for, I don't know.
Did you ever try the XCOM games?
Yeah, but a long time ago, so I should probably have to retry. But those have like permadeath and things, right?
Yeah.
It just stresses me out, that kind of stuff. Mario and Rabbids is a little easier to digest, but it's like I feel like with these, Into the Breach is just so digestible. And like as soon as I started going into this 3D plane and I'm moving characters around and I'm worrying about like action points for distance traveling and stuff, it's like I don't know. I start to lose focus, so we'll see.
Sure.
We'll see.
Okay.
November 17th, same day, we're getting that Super Mario RPG remake, so that is another big day in video game land. And then 2 more here, Nick, for confirmed dates, and then we just have a couple unconfirmed dates. December 1st, Dragon Quest Monsters, The Dark Prince, coming to Nintendo Switch. Seems like kind of a Pokemon-esque Dragon Quest thing. And then a big one coming in December. We don't get too many big releases in December, but I think those lines are getting a little bit more blurred than they used to be. That's Avatar, Frontiers of Pandora from Ubisoft, coming to next-gen consoles on December 7th.
Mm-hmm.
Far Cry, basically. Avatar Far Cry.
Yep, looks pretty good.
Yep. And then so I'm just going to run through these real quick, Nick. Just smack me if, like, I don't know, you really want to talk about one of these. But these are...
I'm looking through the list.
Oh, sure.
I can point out some good ones. Like Ghost Runner 2. That's big.
Helldivers 2.
Yep, Helldivers. Oh, yeah, that does not have a date yet, does it?
No, it does not.
Yeah, that's a good. Mina the Hollower. I know you're really hot on that one. That's from the Hollow Knight guys.
Nope, from Yacht Club, Shovel Knight.
Shovel Knight.
Yep.
Dang it. Yeah, not Team Cherry, sorry.
Nope.
Where's Silksong?
Here, save your video game knowledge with throwing out the team that made Hollow Knight. There you go, Nick. I see through you.
And let's see. I don't see anything. Oh, Sonic Superstars, which we talked about.
Yeah.
Doesn't have a date. And I think that's it for like the ones that I can see here. Is there any other ones you want to highlight?
No, I mean, like, if you're into narrative things, The Wolf Among Us 2 might be kind of big. I am so curious about Skull and Bones, just to be a curious video game industry person.
That is not this year.
I don't think so either, but that's why I'm so curious about it. Like, that's the one that Singapore has funded or whatever, Hong Kong or something.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
But no, yeah, Meaning of the Hollower, Pacific Drive, which was that like weird looking thing that showed up at PlayStation, like you're driving a car through a forest. And Hollow Knight Silk Song, which we just need to get a date for.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's kind of the second half of the year. So we got a lot of those dates fleshed out, and pretty. I mean, remains to be seen, but I think when 10 years from now, 2023 will be in the same conversation as 1998, the same conversation as 2007.
Yeah.
Just as one of those monumental years where we were eating good with games, especially with how Final Fantasy 16 is now being received.
Yeah, just a very consistent year with good releases throughout the whole year. Every quarter, you could point at, big release, big release, big release.
Mm-hmm.
I'm shocked at how many games I've played already this year, and we're just getting started. So
Yep.
I'm halfway there.
First couple months was Horror Alley. Middle of the year is RPG Land. Last half of the year is Spider-Man, Starfield, and Cyberpunk.
Yeah, a lot of stuff.
Good stuff.
Yeah, and if more games hit, like I said, if Armored Core 6 is a big deal, if it is that From Software next big thing, then holy shit. Like
exactly.
that's the scary part is that the games you're not so sure about that could be like, oh, I guess I'm getting Armored Core 6.
Maybe Alan Wake 2 is another classic, survival horror game. Maybe.
Yeah, it was voted the most anticipated game of Summer Game Fest. So,
crazy.
Yeah. But again, yeah, we'll definitely be talking about them all as these things come up. But yeah, no, I'm excited. So let's move on. I wanted to talk about video game editions. This seems to be a new trend that's coming up to where, in fact, I asked John to tell me a game that only had one version of it releasing, and it was a trick question because there isn't one. They all have deluxe editions, premium editions, ultimate editions. And what really started this was Street Fighter and Diablo 4 both had an ultimate edition. Street Fighter 6 had an ultimate edition for $105. Diablo 4 had an ultimate edition for $100. That got you 5-day early access to the game. And every release, if you're looking at...
That's all it gave you?
Well, I'll give you in-game stuff, but that's the highlight, right?
Bullshit. It gave you bullshit.
Right?
Okay.
Like, usually they'll give you this. They give you access to season passes. Mm-hmm. That's typical. Like, all the deluxe editions are usually just pre-ordering season passes. That seems to be the thing, or other little cosmetics here and there. But I'm just gonna list like some of the big offenders. Starfield, big game, day one Game Pass. Do you want to play that 5 days early?
No.
$100. Okay. You
Okay.
got to pay $100. That's what if you want. Mortal Kombat 1 has a premium edition for $110. That'll get you all kinds of skins and access to their first season pass, which characters you don't even know about yet. And Avatar: Frontiers of Pandora has an ultimate edition of $130.
Ubisoft is the worst one with these. Yep.
Which also does the same thing, but Lords of the Fallen, Alan Wake 2, Armored Core 6, Assassin's Creed Mirage, Spider-Man 2, Final Fantasy 16, the game that just came out, all have deluxe editions. Okay, and with that premise, I'm going to ask John a question because this is how it usually goes, and with most things. Like, it's not okay until it's your game doing it.
Right.
So let's just say Hades 2.
Damn it.
Hades 2 has, let's say the base game is $50, but for $90 you get access to all their content post, and you get to play the game 5 days early. And maybe you get some new skins, new armor, new weapons. Maybe you get an exclusive weapon.
If I got an exclusive weapon, that might be the thing. This is very much you have to put your money where your mouth is type moment.
This is a yes or no question.
I think I don't. I think it makes me too icky to justify it. If I didn't have a family, I would definitely get it, I think. But just like...
Okay, that's a good point.
I have been able...
Because the early access means nothing to you because the time You won't get. You don't know if you'll have the time to play.
I'm gonna request it. Like maybe I'd request a day off to play it, but like I'm just gonna wait till like I'll save the money.
Right.
I feel pretty confident in saying that. Immediately I thought, okay, Bloodborne 2. It'd be tough. Nier Automata 2. But I don't know, man. I think like.
There's nuance to the question, right? It's like, what's
sure.
the price? What am I getting for the price, right? Like, if all those stars align, in the game, of course, that's why I led with that.
Yeah.
That you might do it.
I think the most I could ever go is $20 over standard price.
Okay.
Like anything over that, it's an automatic no, I think, for anything that you give me. Unless if we start to go down this path where they're like, hey, you can get a month early. It's like, what? If they continue to push that, because that's all it is. All they've done is they've just basically said, hey, our release date is going to be September 1st. Okay, we'll make it September 6th so we can sell it early for $50 for 5 days. That's all they're doing. Mm-hmm. And so, as long as we don't continue as consumers to send the wrong messages to these companies saying, hey, it's okay that you do that because I'll buy it. It's like when you ask me if I'm going to pre-order Armored Core 6. It's like, no, not really, because like I don't need to give them my money before I've seen what they're going to give me.
Sure.
Let me see what you're going to give me. And we live in an age where I can just go on my PlayStation and buy it immediately. We live in an age where
scarcity isn't a thing.
Yeah, scarcity is not a thing. So I am one of those people that is like, no, it's just gross business practice, man. And I don't think you should exploit people like that because video game fans are some of the most impulsive people out there. But so it's hard that it usually comes across as nefarious,
right?
But I think I can resist because I'll just play Tears of the Kingdom for a little bit.
So you brought up the early access thing, and I do think you're right that it is so predatory.
Yeah, it's the worst.
That the game's ready to go, but if you pay extra money, we'll give you early access to it. And maybe in some games it might be beneficial, right? Like a big online release.
I could see Diablo that being
like a big online
maybe
release.
an
It's
okay
like,
thing.
yeah, okay, we scatter it out before, but yeah, it's like most people, we've been waiting years for Spider-Man 2. If we could get 5-day head start on Spider-Man 2, it's I understand people maybe wanting to do that. They've waited so long, that they're just going to pay the extra price so they can just get in there early. But I agree with you. It's pretty gross.
Yeah, it's interesting too because like, okay, you're one of those people that really wants to play Spider-Man, right? You get it 5 days early, which probably tells me that you're a person that's going to dedicate a good portion of your free time to that game over the next couple of days.
Right.
Do you really want to beat a game before its official release date? Really? Like, you know what I mean?
There are people out there.
Yeah, so like the type of game I think also would factor in. It's like a game like Hades that has a lot of replay value. Maybe it is a little bit something that I would want to jump in early because it really doesn't matter. But like part of the fun is being around the discussion and the zeitgeist. And if you're like, hey, I bought the Spider-Man early, and like you get to work or you get to your friend's house and you can't talk to them because they don't know, you're like, ugh. So it's just like I don't know, man. I don't like seeing it. I'm used to it, so it doesn't really bother me anymore.
Right.
But I just wonder what's the next thing. Is it going to become common practice that if they fucking lock behind a weapon in Hades, like that's not just like a skin. That's a different way to play a game. Like if developers start doing that type of shit, that's going to get real sticky because if I know I'm missing out on a specific piece of content.
And I shouldn't have worded it like that. No, none of these games are doing that,
No,
right? Like
no.
it's usually skins and all that stuff. So
skins, season passes, and early access. Those are like the three biggies, I think.
Okay, so we got that. But what about these deluxe editions? And so these deluxe editions are usually, like I said, you're pre-ordering, and in Spider-Man's case and a few other these cases, you're getting extra skin, a little bit extra content. Sometimes there's exclusive side quests. They don't overall impact the story, but you get that. And then in Street Fighter 6 and some of these other games, it's just you're pre-ordering the season pass essentially.
Yeah.
You're placing your money where your mouth is on the content that's coming to the game at a later date. And you are getting the Spider-Man 2 Deluxe Edition.
Yes. I don't want to.
He looks so in shame.
I feel like I'm being trapped in a corner.
He's playing with his finger. I really got him because I caught him.
It's for my son. and you know that.
Yeah.
You know that.
And I'm in the
Yeah.
same boat. I got talked into it at GameStop when I got Street Fighter 6, which we'll talk about next.
Yeah.
They talked me into buying the deluxe edition because they pushed the benefits onto me, and then they really screwed me because those benefits mean nothing.
The benefits specifically of Spider-Man 2 are the most focused thing to my son that I've ever seen. Like, he plays Spider-Man. I would
Yeah.
argue 90% of the reason he plays Spider-Man is just to unlock the next suit. That's all he does.
Right.
He unlocks the suits, restarts the game. Unlocks the suits, restarts the game. And so when you say there's 10 suits that you can't get, if you can't earn these, even if you want, if you're like, hey, you get this suit after you've played the game for 500 hours. I can't even do that.
I just wanted him to watch a YouTube video if you didn't buy the suits and be like,
I know-
how did we get that suit? And you're going to be like, I don't know.
Yes, you're exactly right. That's exactly what would happen. And he's getting smart. Like I said, he's starting to read. I can't manipulate him like I used
Right.
to. In good ways. I'm a good dad. So
Okay, so obviously this is a very specific
Yeah.
use case for you. So I won't hold you over the coals for it because it's like, yes, your son is he's a good kid. He's obsessed with cosmetics, in which he should be.
Yeah.
Changing your suits is great.
yeah, because in no world am I getting this if it's just for me. You know, as you much to your chagrin, I am the guy that doesn't care about character creators all that much. I'm turning around on them ever since Cyberpunk a little bit because that one's really good, but. No, like I don't care how Spider-Man looks. Like I'll just rock whatever color scheme I like for the whole game. I'm not switching,
Okay.
but yeah. So I don't know. Deluxe editions I view the exact same way as all the other stuff. It's all
Right.
it's all nonsense. It's all nonsense.
Well, like I said, it's all nonsense until the perfect stars align of it's your favorite game, the content's really good, you're just like, fuck it. I'm just
Yeah.
going to do it. And you know, you're spending $70, what's $80? You know, it's
Right.
we rationalize it in our head, even though it sucks all around. It should everything we're talking about should just be the game should release 5 days early. The content should already be in the game because you bought it, you know, but games are also expensive. Businesses make money. Here we are.
I have a question for you, and this is not very on topic, but kind of is. So you mentioned games being like it should be content complete when the game comes out. What is your thought on releasing DLC a year and a half after the games come out?
That's
Specifically talking about, I think it's Saints Row has like some DLC coming out in a couple months, and it's just like, is that like, to me, that's way shittier than like if they're like, hey, we're gonna have DLC out in like 2 weeks, because like. Unless if your game is truly special, are you really going to want to boot that thing back up to go back into DLC that really doesn't, that you forgot the story about, you forgot how to play? I would rather have DLC like 2 weeks or 3 weeks or 4 weeks after, even though it's like, well, you're just using resources to do the DLC. It's like, yeah, but like it's a different vision. I don't know. What do you think?
so.
About
We kind of we talked about this when they announced Burning Shores at the Game Awards. That you know, people will be like, you know, if it's a month later, they'll be like, why wasn't it in the main game?
Yeah.
You know, and then, you know, playing Burning Shores, 14 months later, it was like, I don't even remember how to play this game. I don't even remember where I was at.
Yeah.
You know.
I like it. I just wish DLC
And
didn't have that stigma about it.
Right, and for people who played like say Phantom Liberty at launch, you're talking almost 3 years later or not Phantom Liberty, Cyberpunk 2077. Phantom Liberty is coming out 3 years later. And even think about Shadow of the Erdtree for Elden Ring. Mm-hmm. And I know these cases are different because I played Cyberpunk last year. You just finished Elden Ring. If they announced DLC at the Game Awards for February, you know, that would be 2 years since the release of Elden Ring. But for you, it'd just be 8 months. So I don't know. That's kind of like on a case-by-case basis. Because now that I just mentioned that story, it's like...
Everything in this case-by-case, yeah.
You know, everyone's completing games at their own pace. You know, I don't know. I would say I wish it was like 6 months. Let's get the in between. Like not too long. I wish they would announce those plans at launch, not do what Ghost of Tsushima did and be like, oh hey, we have this whole multiplayer mode coming, like, and it's coming soon. And it's like, why didn't you say anything about this at launch? Like a lot of people probably got rid of their game and are like, huh, what happened?
I think we did, or I did, or one of us did. I don't know.
We were able to play it together, so I don't think I think we both still have it.
Yeah, it might have been a thing where I was like, yeah, they revamped it or something, and I was like, I don't have my copy anymore.
But
all right. Didn't mean to sidetrack us.
No, you're good. Yeah, that was a pretty big sidetrack.
Yeah, I was just, because you mentioned like the whole DLC coming like there should be content complete. It's like, I don't know. I used to be that way, but I'm not so much anymore.
Well, I mean, content complete as far as the pre-order bonuses, anything you get that they throw in the pre-orders should be in the game. Like, I understand the content comes later.
Yeah.
You know,
I know you weren't talking about that in that specific instance, but it just.
But
Squirrel.
Again, yeah, it's the world we live in. That video games are expensive, and these are all corporations, and they're going to try and find ways to make money, and it sucks.
Well, that's why there's some speculation that the Persona 3 Reload, being that it's that base bullshit version, is because they want to be able to then release another remake version of the Fez stuff, right?
Boy.
So it's like, you never know,
right?
You never know,
right? The reasons are always money, but yeah, it sucks to like I said, there will be people that really want to play Starfield are gonna wait for the day and date stuff, and it's just gonna be all over the internet.
Mm-hmm.
It's like if a show like The Last of Us show, you were able to pay to see it 5 days early. Like, can you imagine that world?
Yeah,
I don't like that. That's even scarier.
Yeah,
because then there's this whole spoiler culture around it.
Yeah, you just have to okay, this is early release day. Shut down Reddit for 5 days.
Yeah, exactly.
If you really care.
Shut it down.
Yeah.
Shut it all down. But I wanted to discuss it. But obviously our opinions is it's a pretty shitty practice. But it sneaks its way into our lives.
I get it. I do get it. It's just, I don't know, man. I don't have enough time as it is. So
Sure.
Well,
all right. So yeah, man, we've had quite a show. So we're moving on to the final topic, into a game I've been playing.
See ya.
Yeah. It's Street Fighter 6, and I've had it for almost 3 weeks now, because even after less than 24 hours later, after saying I'll get it when it comes out, it didn't take. I've had a situation where it was for the show. I was like, I need to find shirts for the show. Like, we're doing video podcasts. I need to go to places to look up shirts, because the internet kind of sucks. And if you're listening and you know a good place for video game T-shirts, I would love to hear it, where I'm not paying more than $20 a shirt. That's the key factor.
You ever go to Redbubble?
Well, I'll check it out later. But but anyway, so I was gonna go to a few nerd shops nearby that were located in the mall, and in the mall was a GameStop, and I had finished Jedi Survivor, got the platinum. I'm like, I don't think I'm gonna go back into this game, so fuck it, I'll just go there, see how much money I get. And again, physical copies. Me and John love it. They're like, oh, you got $44. I'm like, just give me Street Fighter 6. So
give me that.
In which it was a great experience overall. They just talked Street Fighter with me for 10 minutes straight, 2 different GameStop employees. And this is where they upsold me on the Deluxe edition, because he said it would save me so much time in grinding, but he was wrong.
Fucker. Knew it.
He lied. I did get the resource he was talking about. The resource is not very important, so I didn't care. But so
Gotcha, bitch.
But I got the season pass, and it all worked out, because ultimately I really love Street Fighter.
And even just getting it is going to give you more motivation to be like, I should really play this today. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I did this. But yeah.
Yeah, so they got DLC characters. That's what I got in the Deluxe edition on top of, and it was only $10 extra.
That's pretty good then.
Yeah, so I'm just pre-subscribed to the season pass, the 4 characters that are coming over the next year, and then I got a little added bonus in these drive ticket resources.
For $10 more?
Yeah.
I take back everything I said. That's a pretty good deal.
Yeah, it wasn't bad. But yeah, what Street Fighter 6 is just kind of like Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. It's just kind of a love of the franchise. It's like 3 different modes. You got the World Tour mode, which is the single player story. You got the Battle Hub, where you can go and just be in a lobby and just chat with other people. You can play old Capcom games. Correction, I said Streets of Rage. That's a Sega property, right? But it's Final Fight was what I was looking for. It was Final Fight was the game I was looking for. But you can play Final Fight. You can play Mega Man games. You can play the original Street Fighter.
Sega. Yep.
Okay, good. You can just go play these old games, and then finally you actually have the normal the normal Street Fighter 5 package was, which is the online fighting, and then the arcade mode where you just fight fighter after fighter, and you get little graphic cutscenes. But again, the game is just a love letter to Street Fighter. It's just there's all this art you're unlocking, there's all this music you're unlocking these old games so you can play them anytime. And just as a package, it's great. It's a great foundation, because you can just tell they're going to be with this for years at a time. Like it's just, after this first season pass, these 4 characters come out, I guarantee they're going to go, this is the next 4 and this is the next 4. And then they're doing all these events and stuff like that. So the package itself is just fan-fucking-tastic. It's great. It is worth the price I paid for it, without a doubt. And as we talked about when we talked about just playing it like the demo and the beta, is that modern controls change everything. Like it removes one of the giant barriers of getting into this game. It's like I got to learn my character. I got to learn their basic moves, and make sure when the guy when my opponent does certain things that I'm hitting the right button combination to go into the move that I want to do. But with this, all the special moves are just triangle forward, triangle back forward, down triangle. Like it keeps it so simple that I'm actually really love playing the game as is.
Yeah.
So
I do remember, the only fighting game I've ever took the time to really get good at is Super Smash Brothers, if you even consider that. But it's like I do remember.
Well, if you play with items.
God. What I do remember is my secret weapon was always trying to learn a couple, with Ultimate, trying to learn a couple, because what I realize is most people don't know how to fight against everybody. And truly learning the enemy's moveset is just as important as learning your own. So it's this weird aspect of fighting games that I feel like not a lot of people think of.
And that's funny. That's my experience with ranked is I come up against a Ken, I'm like, got this. Yeah. No fucking problem. Do. But then I come up against a Kimberly or a JP and I'm like, oh boy, when does this combo end? He's hitting me ranged from all the way over here? Yeah. How do I play this? How do I counteract this? What moves should I be doing? Should I be up in their face the whole time? So just having the modern controls just eliminate one section of the game that I have to worry about.
Yeah.
Just let me focus on my combos, their moves, and timing. That's great. Yeah. And I recommend 100% that people just go play ranked, because what it will try to do is funnel you into Battle Hub, but there's no stopping anyone from coming to fight you in Battle Hub. And you don't know what their rank is. So you'll fight and get your ass handed. And same with casual. A master player can just hit the casual queue and queue up against anybody.
Yeah, that's gross.
Go play ranked. I started out as a rookie, which is the lowest you can be. I didn't even have a score. And I worked my way up to bronze, which I was very satisfied with. It was actually very fun. And I love what rank does. And I think Rocket League should do this too, is where you fight someone in a match, and whoever wins, you have the option to both rematch immediately. You don't go to a loading screen. Boom, right back in the match. And you can do this to best of 3. So if you go, he wins the first one, you win the next one, and you keep rematching, you'll get it to that third final match. But if he wins 2, then it's over. You cannot rematch him. You can't keep going and going and going.
You can do that in casual in Rocket League. You
just
can't do it in comp.
Right. But you should be able to. If the match was good and the match was close.
Right.
And everyone's agreeing to it.
Right.
Why not? And so it's just a great satisfying feeling of both of you just hitting rematch immediately. It's just all right, we're going right back into it, because that fight was really good.
It's like Marvel Snap. Yeah. I snapped you. I snapped you back.
Yeah, exactly. And there's just a bunch of stuff like that is just quality of life. The commentator mode is just funny and silly to have live commentators that you can choose from. There's 8 different ones to choose from, and they just talk over your match it's like you're playing at Evo or something. There's just all these really
what the fuck is he doing?
Yeah. I mean, they speak very generically usually, and they definitely know outside of character specials. Because they have names, apparently. I wasn't aware of that, but they'll say out the name that you're doing, the move you're doing. No, I overall package. I'm having a good time. This is replacing. Me and John are competitive guys. We grew up with sports, and we don't really get that as an adult, right? We're not playing.
Yep.
Yeah. So
I live vicariously through my kids.
Yeah. So we go to video games to experience that, and I know it's not our primary driver for playing video games, as you know, on this show. But every now and then, Rocket League slips in, or and Overwatch. And it was nice for this is replacing Rocket League. I think I am going to finally sunset Rocket League for myself, because it always comes back. I'll go months without playing it.
Coward.
That I'm enjoying playing this much, much more. And Yeah, it's great. It's got there's still the rage quitters, and in that battle hub, there's chat. So you know how that goes. Like everyone is just talking shit to each other. Like,
is there filter? Like, is it moderated at all?
Yeah, of course you can't say anything bad in there, but
sucks for you.
Fill in the blanks. I've never had anyone say anything to me in there, but
no,
also
I mean you can't speak all your hate speech.
Oh,
kidding.
Yeah. When I'm playing fighting games, I let those expletives fly. But no, it's pretty dope. I'm getting a little burnt out on the World Tour mode because the opponents they're
boring.
Yeah, they're boring. They have levels too. So if you're playing a level 40 guy, his health bar is just bigger. And it's just like it's not a fair fight. And it drags out. Like moves that, in a normal match would take off a third of a health, or a combo that would take off a third of health does nothing because their stats are just higher. Yeah, it's not fun. And it's just frustrating. And you can use items mid-match, so you kind of have this little cheat, like you can gain more health. But it's just a grind, and I'm not.
Fighting games need to be perfectly balanced, and if you start implementing things like that, it's just all of a sudden it's like, well, what? Yeah, I'm gonna fight a real person and feel good about myself.
Right. So it's like I want to see that mode to the end, but it's like 20 minutes of that, an hour of
it's like a warm-up.
the hour of fighting grounds. It's
warm-up.
like so. But again, just a great package, a great set of characters. All the new characters are great. The community seems to be really loving this game.
Yeah.
All from all sides. They're obviously there's always going to be people that are like, oh, here's a balance patch already, and it's like it's been out for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Like, calm down.
Yeah.
But as a fighting game noob who last attached to Mortal Kombat 9 or Injustice 2 or Street Fighter 4, like that's kind of the last few fighting games that I actually enjoyed. This is the one I'm going to stick with. Like Injustice 2, I went right on, which was the direct last game I played. I went right to online, and I'm like, I can't do this. I'm not going to do it.
And who's your character, Nick?
It's Cammy.
Yeah, you pervert. No, I'm happy you're enjoying it. Obviously, the discussion around it's all positive, and I want to get it, and I feel like I should, because obviously you would be the person I'd play with, and I can't let you get too much better. You know what I mean? Like if I were to get it, I should get it now, but I don't know. But I really want to get my hands on it. It genuinely seems like the greatest fighting game in existence at this point. Yeah. Like just from a quality standpoint, probably. I mean, you got your Street Fighter 2s and that kind of stuff, but like if we're just comparing just like a total package, like this is the one.
Right. And now, don't worry, I'll get tired of it. I'll take a break. Especially when Phantom Liberty comes out, I'll probably just let you borrow it, and you can just check it out. And then by Black Friday, it'll probably be $30. It'll be a $30 game. So, but no, it's awesome. And like common theme on the show, Capcom doesn't miss, and
they don't. That's why I wonder about that Exo Primal score. We'll see.
Yeah,
we'll see.
So kudos to them. I'm loving it. So. That's all I got to say, but I'll probably come back to it. Like I said, this will be in my life for.
I mean, I at least want updates when you rank from bronze to silver and from silver to gold. Like we gotta at least get updates of that.
I hit bronze and then I took a quick break. And then now Final Fantasy 16 is going to take over my life. So we'll see when the next update is. But I highly recommend it. If you're on the fence, just do it. All right, John. Well, that is 6 things. I know, like, is E3 over?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, she gone.
Okay.
But we got Gamescom in 2 months. So opening night live.
But outside of Final Fantasy 16, which is going to take all the oxygen out of the room on the show, John and I are both playing it. What else is there really to talk about?
Rogue Legacy 2 continues to be fantastic. I've been doing a couple runs of that. It's just addicting. It's very much a one more run thing. But no, man, I think it's Final Fantasy 16's time to shine.
Yeah.
So I'll be still playing Tears of the Kingdom in between when I can't. But no, I don't want to do to this game what I did to Elden Ring. Like I just get it and play it. Put everything else aside. So yeah, I got to get my copy, but we'll see.
Okay. All right. Yeah, that would be good. Because I want to do a bonus episode.
Stay tuned for me telling Nick I haven't played it next week.
Yeah, and it's always better when we can bounce off each other. Obviously, like
course.
even just talking about Street Fighter 6 now, and obviously John is humoring me and listening to me talk about it, but. It's always better when we can go back and forth. Like God of War Ragnarok. Like it was just like, blah, 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 like that back and forth. So
I just know that Cammy's got some pretty sweet thighs.
She does.
That's all I know.
Yeah. She's the third most popular character. So all right, I'm not the only one.
Yeah, her thighs aren't as good as Ken or Ryu's, but they're pretty good.
That's true. All right, John. So that is 6 things. What song are we leaving them on? What did you pick?
Oh well, I have to honor my game of the year so far, and that's Elden Ring. You might have heard of it.
Yeah.
Pick the Final Battle. The Final Battle is a cool one, as we discussed, because you go from Radagon, which is a humanoid type fight, into the Elden Beast, and the music shifts. And so this is called the Final Battle by Tsukasa Saito. And it kind of shifts halfway through. So it starts with like kind of epic, your typical ba 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 fight music, but then it like really kind of gets ethereal and weird when the Elden Beast is and all that stuff. So kind of just as a final way to say thank you, goodbye, I love you. Hopefully not the last time I play you, but
not a chance. You'll be back.
Yeah, at some point. Oh well, Shadow of the Erd Tree for sure. But, the Final Battle from Elden Ring.
What is the Erd Tree?
Big tree.
Is that the big golden tree?
It is the big golden tree. I watched a 40-minute lore video. It's... I don't know.
Sure.
Yeah.
Great answer.
Yeah.
Well, you'll
You
learn
gotta-
more, I'm sure.
Oh, I don't actually almost spoil it. Yeah.
All right. So, again, thank you for listening. If you have any questions, thoughts, please email us at PlayStationPalsPod@gmail.com. Again, perfect time to do that because we will, for 100%, read it on the air. So, send it in. Send us your thoughts.
Just love us.
Let us know you're out there, of course. So, again, we will be back next week with Final Fantasy 16 and another 5 things. So, thanks for listening.